we're using SnapStream for, and we're finding new ways to use it all the time. And I just want to give a snapshot of what we did this past semester. We had the midterm election in November, and I went into the classroom the next morning, and even though we had election results come in pretty late that night, I didn't even worry about it. I just knew that it was we have it set up so that it records 4 newscasts simultaneously, 24/7. And I just knew that when I showed up that morning, I could just pull up the coverage from the previous night on the big screen in my classroom, and we could jump from different different networks, different channels, to see how they covered the election the night before. It was just really fantastic. When I teach students about what angle they should approach a story or how they should organize their story, I found it to be really useful to use SnapStream to be able to take, say, one topic. Say, if it's, let's say it was last week's state visit by the President of China, I could put up 4 different networks, all running simultaneously, and showing the students that different journalists pick different angles to the same story. And that relieves a lot of anxiety that students have about how they're going to analyze and organize their own pieces, because they realize that there's more than one way to look at a story and to think about the news. And so I think that's been a really, really big help in helping students just get on with the work instead of second-guessing themselves. On a graduate level, we have our communication studies classes and journalism studies classes, and we're starting to do content analyses using the transcripts that are accessible through SnapStream. And students are able to do analyses of word counts and looking at how one network covered the news versus another. And that has taken something that used to be really, really difficult, used to take a lot of time, and made it so much faster. And because of that, students were able to get a much larger pool of data to make their conclusions. I've been looking at different ways to use SnapStream. Last year, I had a student who was out sick with mono, and mono can really put a student back. And a lot of times in the past, students have just had to withdraw from a class because they have an extended illness. Well, because we have SnapStream, one of the students in the class was able to burn a DVD of some of the programs that we discussed in class for that student who was sick, and take it to the or give it to the student, so she was able to keep up with the class and be able to watch the things that we watched in the classroom. Like I said earlier, we've been analyzing local news programs, and again, this is so different from the old days of journalism research, because in the past you can look at the record of journalism research, and it's been mostly about national networks, because the local TV channel news was so inaccessible. And so now I think because of SnapStream, we're going to be seeing more analysis of local news, which is really the majority of broadcast news in America. Also, I'm looking forward to the kind of discussions we're going to have in our classrooms in the future, and the new ideas that are going to come out of that, because what SnapStream is doing for us right now is giving us access to more information, and more information means more discussion, and more discussion means more ideas. And so I think this is really going to be a key tool for us in the future, and allow us to think about news in different ways. And I know that some folks are going to say, well, some folks will say that about copyrights and if you give students too much information, too much access, that they're going to copy it and abuse copyrights. We've actually seen something different. We've seen that students, when they have access to more information, when they are able to analyze and then recreate, resynthesize what they've seen and what they've learned, and create new content, that the more content that they create, the more likely they're going to respect copyrights. And so I think that for us, Snapstream is a part of that open society, open source, open conversation kind of atmosphere that that I think is going to reap a lot of rewards in journalism and help us to continue to innovate. And with that, I can turn it back to Brian, and so he can give you a demonstration of the product.
All right, thank you, Paul. It's always so nice to hear that the Snapstream servers, how it can actually benefit universities and really help them do things in a way that's far more efficient than they ever dreamed possible, such as what Emerson College is doing.